First, start at your start line. When you kick off this process, you should reflect on the last year and assess yourself objectively, where you're at right now. And from that place, really having a keen understanding of what you've done well, where you can grow, etc., I want you to step out into a new frontier. Get out of your comfort zone. Take a step forward. But here's the important thing. Don't just poke your nose out there. Step out and stay out. A phrase I always like to use is simmering discomfort. What do I mean by that? Imagine being in a big pot of boiling water. If we just turn the heat on and let it boil over, vroom, fatigue ensues. That's underperformance. At the same time, if we don't turn the heat on at all, you just regress. You're just sitting there. Yeah. What we want to get to is a place where you are highly uncomfortable. The water is simmering, but you're able to stay there because it's in that place of discomfort that growth occurs, that results start to emerge. That's the place, simmering right on the edge. That is the growth place. And this is where so many people fail in many ways. They either whack the heat up and try and accelerate too fast or pile on too much too soon. It becomes overwhelming. Go back to Sam's story of how we managed to avoid that. Or are not willing to get to a place out of familiarity or routine into that place of discomfort where you're going to see appreciable change. So folks, sometimes you just got to peek over the edge a little. The only way for you to go up to the next level is to embrace challenges. And it's okay, it's normal to get out of your comfort zone, to push your frontier. And this is it. This is it. In part 1 of the series, we lay the groundwork of your mindset. So let's get tactical. All right, as we get tactical here, if you're a regular listener of the show, you've heard me many times talk about the importance of team. And I've told you stories of how we applied a team approach to the coaching of the professional athletes. Despite every single one of them earning their craft in an individual sport at different stages of development, quite often being competitors with each other, we unified around a team concept. And I want you to think about that as it aligns to words that I just used. Challenge, commitment, discomfort, even more the next level, simmering discomfort. Almost every scenario in life that conjures up these words is better tackled not alone. In other words, in a team setting, where you have mechanisms of accountability, support, growth together. And it's no different in triathlon. So team, you do it better with others. Okay, that's just an important byproduct. I want you to store that. We're going to talk about team later in the series. But when you think about getting out of your comfort zone, you go back to Sam's case study. Do you remember I said in the swim project where she was most uncomfortable, she buddied up. She had a friend do it. She also made sure that she ramped up her frequency with master swimming. That's because I knew she was going to be uncomfortable. I knew it was a big challenge. I knew it required great commitment, and it's better. It's easier. It's more simple, ultimately, if you do it as a team. So that's the driver. Alrighty. So how do you get going? Here it is, a general rule. For most athletes, what I would do for the first quarter, a project, a time-bound project, is I would focus on 3 main things. The first is, what is your weakness that you're really going to try and address over the course of the coming months and through this season? And that's going to be probably your growth project, the thing that you really are stepping out of the bounds of comfort, where you're breaking routine. It's very additive in nature. You need to take action to evolve it, and it's not going to be comfortable. So that's the first thing that you want to filter on. What am I going to really address? The second component then is, what's a strength that I have, something I'm actually really pretty good at, that I'm confident in, that I enjoy, that I can bolster and improve? That's a really healthy thing to do. Something that's almost like a reward. I'm going to actually go from good to great here, from great to world class. I'm going to move up. You don't actually have to be world class, by the way. It's a continuum. You get it. And then focus on at least one baseline habit or some associated performance factor that you either neglect or is maybe a little bit of an area of development or is something that you could really do with polishing. It might be, like in Sam's case, daily eating. It might be your sleep. It might be integrating some sensible downtime and stepping away from the sport and being not so obsessive. It might be working on your overall mindset and your confidence in yourself. Maybe you often neglect your prehab, some of the mobility and stretching and self-care type protocols. It can be very different things, but outside of the swim, bike, run, strength, what else is there that you think you could really shine a light on, try and integrate and commit to, that will yield better baseline performance? So for today's show, I want you to define those things. That's your homework. What are you going to focus on? And make it pretty succinct for the next 12 to 16 weeks. So as we record this in early January, through the end of March, maybe through the end of April, okay? If you're going to step out into the frontier and grow, you're going to need to do this. And let me remind you, draw on the lessons from Sam. Number one, don't take on too much. All right, with Sam, I desperately wanted to fix about 10 things. And I focused it down to one dominant mission, the swim. I then had two very accessible additions that were almost like rewards. The bike, already a strength, very easy for her to wrap her head around. Nutrition, it was habit-driven. It wasn't performance-related so far as faster, stronger, fitter, etc. Second component, your targets and your focus need to be clear, simple, and understandable. In other words, your crazy aunt that lives 300 miles away should understand what you're looking to focus on. You don't have to tell her, it's okay, but clear, simple, and understandable. Number three, they need to fit into your life, including your social habits. Very important. Number four, once you've committed, you better get highly organized. We've talked a lot about the Sunday special. I haven't seen anyone be able to successfully take on a big habit and get out of their comfort zone without being highly organized. Prioritize planning, commitment, understanding motivation is going to come in waves, commitment is constant, and then constant reflections to keep you on track. And I promise you that if you can focus on these three things, a weakness, a strength, and a supportive habit, and keep everything else pretty similar, don't try and change too much. If you crack this, and then your triathlon journey is going to be a tool that not only sees you get faster, but you're going to become more effective, you're going to build confidence, you're going to increase your capacity, and you're going to have a sense of great control over life. I can't say it too much. And so my question for you this week is, what are your three things?